Hi, Jessica Dumas, Prime Image Life Coaching and Indigenous Insight Seminars. And welcome to Friday, my very first Indigenous Insight interview. And ooh, something's vibrating. I chose to do an interview with a friend from high school. And one of the things that I want to hear from her about or share with her about is a painting that she gave to me probably about a year ago. And it was something special that we were able to share together, an event where this painting came from. And so I want to be able to share that today. And the reason that I'm doing this is because a lot of the work that I've been doing in the community, in the city of Winnipeg, for definitely the past 10 years is learning and meeting and connecting with all of these really incredible Indigenous people in our community, artists, business people, single mothers and students. And I'm just so passionate about all of the things that are happening in our community with regards to reconciliation and what I call the renaissance of the Indigenous community. And so this is what I wanted to do. I've been waiting and pushing myself. Why aren't I doing this? And so I'm doing it. And so what I want to share first is I have the painting behind me. This is what Mrs. Sarah Zebinski, I'm trying to get it leveled there, painted for me about a year ago. And so she brought it over. I shared a picture. I put it on my Facebook page. And I was really I did not expect that. So it was a really beautiful gift. And I started to think about, like, where did this come from? Why did you paint this for me? You know, what did I ever do to deserve such an honor to receive a beautiful painting like that? And so Sarah and I went to high school together, St. John's High School, North End girls, right? And so we haven't really connected a lot throughout, the past few years, but we ended up at a sweat together. We ended up at a sweat lodge together. And it was shortly after I lost my grandmother in 2015. So a very emotional time for me and a really important need for me to go through this healing ceremony to support my grandmother on her journey. And so during the time at the sweat, it was a beautiful summer day, a butterfly came and landed on me. And there is a teaching that when a butterfly comes and visits you, that it's your loved one coming to visit you to reassure you that they're okay. And anyone that knows me knows I am not an insect person. Like, I get freaked out. I don't care if you're a pretty butterfly. You could sit there for a second and then you gotta go. So I was kind of freaking out, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. And how Sarah was able to capture that and just be present with that. And then give me this beautiful painting as a gift to remind me of that special moment. It was just incredible. And you know what? I want to honor Sarah, and I want to honor all of those who take that talent and use it. And that I know that it's really fulfilling to be able to do and to express yourself in these different ways. So I wanted to take this opportunity to honor Sarah. I haven't shared that with her before, and I want to hear what she thinks, but I also just want to highlight how cool my friends are. I mean, we grew up in the North End, lots of challenges that we go through as Indigenous women, as single moms, and she is a full-time student, an artist, and just so many cool things. So I want to welcome Sarah. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. So thank you for being my very first interview. This is like one of my dreams of something that I've always wanted to do. So thank you for being brave and coming to share this with me. And thank you again so much for the painting that you gave to me.
Oh, thanks for having me on here. And I was honored to do that for you. And I was happy to be there in that moment with you in the sweat lodge. It was beautiful.
It was a beautiful, beautiful day. And it was David Budd was the sweat keeper, and such an amazing man, and such a sweet man. So so Sarah, tell us about you. Tell me about a little bit about, how would you introduce yourself? So where are you from? Where's your family from? What do you identify as? All of that stuff.
My name's Sarah Zebinski. My spirit name is Sławishka, and I identify Anishinaabe and Polish. And I grew up in the North End, went to St. John's with you, and I've worked about 13 years as a lab technician, and I've been going to school for the past few years, going to get prerequisites for nursing. So I'm in the nursing program now at U of M. And I just started 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So. Very cool. So, and you're doing that full time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for you. And tell us about your kids.
My kids are amazing. I have 2 kids, Justin and Kalia. They're 13 and 8. He'll be 9 soon. And they're my motivation for everything that I do. They keep me focused. They keep me on track. My daughter is very, very strong, and she's amazing. So yeah.
That's really nice. So tell us about how is it? Because in 2012, I tried to go to university, and I went for the first year, and ironically, I look at it now, and I mean, everything always works out the way it's supposed to work out, right? Some of the programs that I wanted to get into, I registered too late, and I ended up doing two courses on Canadian Indigenous history. It was a different name of some sort, but that's, I did that, and then a couple of other courses, but but it was hard. I mean, I was passionate about what I was learning, and I mean, my kids had homework, and I was tired, and taking care of feeding and anything else that they do. Like, how do you do that as a single parent?
It was really hard. Even when I wasn't a single parent, I had tried to go to university about 10 years ago, and it was very difficult with my daughter. She was 3 at the time, so I was working full time in the days and going to school in the evenings, and I didn't have that focus. I wasn't ready. And so I don't regret it, though, because I have 10 years of work experience that is valuable to me. So, sorry, what was the question?
Just how do you manage to do all of that and then do well at school? Because you can't keep going to school if you're not doing well, right? You have to work hard to do that.
I have that support system. My family, my cousins help me a lot. My parents have helped me more than I expect them to help me, and they're always there for me. If I have an exam, they help with the kids. My kids are actually really good. They're very understanding that in the long run, I need to put my work in now, and in the long run, things are easier for them. So, and yeah, they're very understanding. They know that it's really important to me. And it's good.
And then you're doing it for them.
Yeah, and I'm doing it for them. They know I'm doing it for them.
Yeah. And you know what I think? So this week I was in Brandon. I did 2 Indigenous Insight seminars with 2 different groups. And one of the ladies, it was probably about 3/4 of the group was Indigenous. The rest was non-Indigenous. There was probably about 30 people altogether. And one of the ladies, the Aboriginal women, said that it's really a responsibility for us as women to be leaders in our families right now, and that it's such a responsibility to live a healthy life. So what would you add to that?
To live a healthy life, I think we have to be conscious of the people that we keep around us, and we have to keep people around us who are on the same path as us, I think. But still, at the same time, you can help people too.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I don't know.
That's okay. Yeah, no, and it was just more about responsibility and taking that responsibility, right? That's what we're doing in our generation, and all of the generations, us, our children, they're going to have different responsibilities. So
Mhm.
I did share with you before the interview, and it was a TD report, and I'm sorry I don't even have the actual report available right now, but a record of Aboriginal women outperforming in the labor market. And you were excited about that question.
Yeah.
So really it's, women taking our stand in our families and in our communities today, right? And what I'm doing, for example, in my work with the Aboriginal Chamber and the Winnipeg Chamber, is a lot of it is for the first time, being an Aboriginal woman in that space, and really creating a space and making room for others going forward. So when you hear about that, about how women are the ones that are making that effort to be more and more present today, what do you think of that? What gets you excited about that?
I think we're hard workers. We're very hard workers, and we're very conscious of being role models, especially for our children and younger generations. I know when I was a kid, my dad always said, like, you're gonna have to work twice as hard because you're a woman and because you're Native. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's not the only parent who has told their kids that. And
Yeah.
so I think growing up learning that about the world in that light, that you're going to be looked at in a certain way. Um, it it molds the way your work ethic, I think. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you kind of have to prove people wrong. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
So I think that could be a motivator, is proving
Mm-hmm.
people wrong. Also, just trying to set a good example for your kids, and
Yeah.
trying to make sure that they have it better and they go further than you almost, you know? That's
Yeah.
what I want for my kids.
Yeah, definitely. So earlier when you were sharing about how it's your kids know that you do this for them, it reminded me of 2015, maybe. I can't remember. I'm so bad with dates and stuff. I was in Banff. I went to a 1 week workshop at the Banff Center. And it was a long week to be away from my kids. And I mean, every once in a while I'd turn and look at the mountains and go, oh, it's beautiful. And just kind of, try and be in the moment so that I wasn't so lonely for my kids. But on the last day, we had it was a really big event. They invited back a bunch of past participants of this particular program. And so they broke us up into groups. It was kind of a crazy day. But sitting in one of the circles in the workshop that we were doing, I was the only Indigenous person, and then there was an elder that was in my group. So of course the other Indigenous person, and she was very quiet, and a lot of people were asking me, my feedback and my opinion on, anything Indigenous, right? Because if you're the Indigenous person in the room, you become the expert, and everyone expects you to have all the answers to what they're looking for. And so I was looking to this elder to confirm everything that I was saying. I would, share a piece of knowledge or something that I assumed was, going to be helpful to them. And then I would look to her for confirmation, like, is that right? Just kind of waiting for her to just approve of me. And anyways, it was really great. At the end of this workshop, everyone left the room, and I went around the table and I said, I'm sorry that I hope I didn't put you on the spot. I just wanted to honor you for being here with me and just make sure that you felt that I was sharing the information that was appropriate. And so we started talking, asking, where each other is from and that sort of stuff. And she was from that local area, Calgary. And I was telling her about my kids, and I've been away from the kids for so long. And then I almost started crying because, thinking about them, and I miss them so much. And she said to me, I can see that you miss your kids right now. And I said, yeah, I do. Like, I think it's important for me to be here and do this work, but I do miss my kids. And she said to me some really, really helpful information that I'll always remember. She said, your kids know that you love them, and you're doing what you need to do for your community, and everything that you're doing is right. And so every once in a while, when I'm out doing work, and especially if it's something where I'm, empowering myself or empowering others, empowering the community, that I'm also doing that for my children. And so I try to remember that, and I try to share that as well
Yeah,
with people, to
that's really
just, just a hug, right? To say you're doing the right thing in everything that you're doing. And there's so many young Indigenous people now who are getting so much education. So I'm really excited to see that's what you're a part of right now.
I'm
So
happy.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about the program that you're in.
I've been at University of Manitoba for 3 years now, and I've been in the Access program. The Access program has helped me with academic support, guidance counselors, and tutoring when necessary. And they have a access program for nursing. They have it for engineering. They have it for education. So I'm in the nursing access program, and they you start the program with people who are on the same path as you. So you really build those connections along the way, and
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing. Like, I don't think I would have done so well without that program.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the nursing program, it's really different. It's very challenging. I find it hard to stay focused sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
I know it'll be worth it in the long run, just to
Yeah,
keep it.
for sure.
Yeah.
And what do you hope to do for employment when you're done? What
I
would
would
you
like
like
to.
to?
I've done some work in the lab at Mount Carmel Clinic, and I really, being in that area, I feel like drawn to community nursing. Before that, I had wanted to work at emergency department so that I could
Mm-hmm.
build up experience and eventually work on the reserve as a
Mm-hmm.
nurse. And I'd like to eventually go and do my master's to become a nurse practitioner in the long
Excellent.
run. One thing at
Good
a
for
time.
you. Yeah, no, that's so exciting because and I know this, but for Indigenous youth to have someone that they can relate to, someone that they can walk into a room and say, oh, that person looks like me, right? They don't sometimes mentally think that, but that's what you're attracted to. And if you feel that much more comfortable, then we're going to have more of a healthy community.
Hmm. Yeah, representation is very important. It's very important.
Yeah,
That'll encourage more kids to see it as a possibility. I think
right.
when you don't see people like you working certain jobs, you kind of might, like as a child, you might look at it and see it's not possible, but it's
Right.
completely possible. So
So out of your, like, the past 10 or 20 years even, who were some of your role models or mentors that you looked to in the community to help you say that you can do this?
my parents, definitely, my parents work so hard. They still work very hard. My dad My dad was probably the most influential with going back to school. He always made sure to tell us, you have to go to school, you need your education. Like, he drilled it into me and my sister
Hmm.
that it's necessary. Like, even with grade 12, you can't really get very much. You can't. Well, I guess that's not true, because anything's possible. Anything's possible. You don't completely need to have university education, but most it's definitely can help your growth, I think, because I've grown a lot since I've been in university.
Yeah.
But my mom works two jobs, and so I've always seen that from them.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
with community wise, like Indigenous community, I've only really been learning about the history and everything like that, like, because I was kind of separated from my family on that side for a long time. Like, we're just starting to meet people now from that
Hmm.
side, and
Yeah.
I only started learning when I was pregnant with my daughter. I really wanted to learn, so I'd just go to the library and was reading
Mhm.
books. And so, um, yeah, I don't know. You're a good role model too, I
Aw,
think.
aw, well, thank you so much.
And a lot of my classmates, a lot of my classmates, and they've encouraged me to keep going too, because a lot of them are single moms
Hmm.
who are following their dreams, and
Hmm.
they're very good role models for me too.
Yeah, Indigenous Renaissance.
Yeah.
I said that to myself like a couple of years ago. Like I could just see it and feel it, and now everyone can see it, right? Like it's coming out more and more. So I appreciate that you shared that it was when you were an adult that you decided to start going out and educating yourself. And the same
Yeah.
thing for me when I lost my brother in 2005. I didn't know anything about the history of Aboriginal people in Canada. And because of the event with my brother, because him being killed and causing me to get involved in many things in the community, I, for the first time, saw a chief in a headdress. And I couldn't believe that chiefs wore headdresses. Like it was the first time that I saw it as an adult. And I was really embarrassed at the time. I thought, why don't I know this?
Mm.
And of course, I realized there was a system designed specifically for me not to know that, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's
I've
almost
been,
like, sorry,
yeah,
like feeling betrayed. When I found out the true history, I felt a betrayal from not only the government but religious institutions, and also education and educational institutions, for not allowing us that knowledge. You know?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I'm excited about the work that I'm doing in the Indigenous Insight seminars because I'm able to help people learn that and find some resources to where they do that. So obviously that kind of leads us back or to the next step of healing.
Hmm.
And so in your painting, you said that you just started 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I just started
So
4 years ago.
how did you know you wanted to paint? Like where did that come from?
It was, I don't know, I just started doing it just for kind of like a coping mechanism, I guess you could say, like, because um, I found it to be really therapeutic for me. Like, I was going through a hard time at the time, and I found that it was relaxing, and that I think that it's good to find healthy coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of mine, definitely.
So
Yeah.
when did you like what was your first painting when you were like, wow, I like this or wow, I'm really good at this?
I don't know. Probably my most recent. I think this one here.
Yeah,
That,
gorgeous.
let me see.
They're
There.
beautiful.
That
I
one I
love
did
it.
class. I did that for Aboriginal women class. Aboriginal Women in Canada by Sherry Farrell Reset. And I was
Okay.
also taking in that year. I was taking State of the Earth's Environment class. So I was kind of more conscious of what's going on with our planet,
Yeah.
and I tried to incorporate some of the teachings that I learned in my spirituality classes and in the other classes that I had taken, like the other Native Studies classes I've taken, and it was more so too because I learned my name and my clan, and I wanted to find out more about what that meant. I'm Bear Clan, and my name is White Thunderbird Woman, so I wanted to learn more about the Thunderbird. And I read this book, The Island of the Anishinaabe, and this kind of came together. And then there was not another book that I read. It's called Plants Have Everything You Need. All we have to do is ask, something like that. It's Anishinaabe botanical teaching. So that one has a story about the cedar and the bearberry and how the bear brought it to us. The
Yeah.
bear and the beaver, I think. Yeah,
Nice.
that one. Yeah, this is probably my favorite one, I think.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
And I
So
just kind of,
do
sorry,
your
guys.
kids do your kids are they artistic? Do they do that as well?
Oh yeah, my daughter paints. My daughter's pretty good. She likes doing it. She's not as much, like she doesn't do it very often. I think one thing I have to watch with them is sometimes it's easy to just let them go on the games and the tablets while
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so
I
I
have
kind
those
of
challenges too.
yeah, it's an easy thing to do, and I kind of want to stop doing that, but it's hard.
Yeah. It's definitely hard. Yeah, it's a challenge. We want them to know the technology, but we don't want them to rely on the technology.
Yeah.
I was actually in Fisher River a few months ago. I can't remember when at all. And the whole community lost internet. So I was out there for like 4 days doing some work and we had no internet. And I was just like, wow, like I'm so reliant on my phone. So I purposely made sure to, like, it was definitely a push on my practice of what I preach, like stay off your phone. It's okay. Meditate, like it was an exciting and interesting event. I was actually looking for one of my friends, Hillary. I was supposed to go to her place for dinner and we couldn't phone each other. So I was literally driving up and down the highway waiting for her to come and find me. So she found me. It was pretty hilarious. So, so if you had a message that you could send yourself to 10 years ago to help you right now or encourage you or whatever, what would that message be?
I would probably tell myself to start painting because I I wish I would have started earlier. I wish I wouldn't have like I just always had it in my head. I'm not a painter. I'm not an artist. It's not me. You tell
Yeah.
yourself you can't do something, and I would have just told myself try it. You never know.
Aw.
I would have probably tried to start painting earlier because just knowing the power that it has and how you can
Mm.
communicate with it with art and it
Yeah.
'cause I don't know, for me I have a hard time kind of expressing myself, and so I
Hmm.
think art has really helped me do that, and so I would tell myself to start painting and
Aw,
focusing on
that's from
school.
the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that. Cool. Is there anything else you want to share?
I don't know. Not really. Not that I can think of right now.
Aw. Well, you know what? I think that was, a really good conversation. And I feel like this is probably how I'm going to be connecting with people for the most part in the next little while because I'm very busy. We're all very busy, right? Making our families and our communities better, making ourselves better. And so good job and good luck and lots of love and blessings to you and everything that you do in your home with your children and your work. And I can't wait
You.
to see you in person.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thanks for
Aw.
having me.
Thanks, Sarah. Talk to you soon, okay? Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much for you who is watching. I'm going to do interviews every Friday, and I've got so many names on the list that I'm so excited, and I don't even want to wait. I want to do it now. So thank you for watching. JessicaDumas.com is my website. Indigenous Insight Seminars on Facebook under Jessica Dumas, Indigenous Insight Seminars, and Jessica Dumas Life Coach. I have a 6-month online life coaching program that is designed to change your life. It's designed to really make it happen. So thank you for watching. Please share this video and send some hearts and some love to Sarah. Thank you.